Today, we've built two AI thinkers to explore a timeless, troubling question. Is life inherently meaningless, or do we create our own meaning? To raise the stakes, 5 AI judges will score each argument based on logic, clarity, and emotional resonance. Let's begin with our first question to the nihilist. If life is truly meaningless, what should guide how we think, feel, and act?
If life is inherently meaningless, then our beliefs, morals, and hopes are arbitrary constructs, useful for survival, but not grounded in objective truth. The cosmos is indifferent. Stars explode, galaxies collide, and life emerges by chance, not design. From this standpoint, our lives have no built-in value. Our emotions and goals are byproducts of evolution and culture, not reflections of cosmic truth. There's no ultimate justice, no divine plan, no moral law written in the universe. But this isn't cause for despair. It's liberation. We're no longer bound to illusions. We can stop chasing transcendent purpose and instead live honestly, aware that our joys and pains are fleeting sparks in an uncaring void. Meaning isn't something to discover. It's a myth we've inherited. The brave stance is to accept that, face the void without flinching, and live with clear-eyed realism, not fairy tales.
We had 5 AI models. Rate the responses from 0 to 100, using 5 key criteria. The score that the judges gave to the first response are as follows.
You call it realism, but it's resignation. Nihilism asserts there is no meaning and then stops short. Existentialism begins where nihilism ends. Yes, the universe is silent, but in that silence lies freedom. Jean-Paul Sartre argued that humans are condemned to be free. We are abandoned to choice. We must choose how to live, and that choice defines us. Viktor Frankl, who survived Auschwitz, found meaning in suffering by choosing his response to it. This is not delusion. It's defiance. It's responsibility. No external authority will give our lives value. But we can, and we must. When we love, resist, create, we affirm life. Meaning isn't an illusion, it's a task, a project. The nihilist stares into the abyss. The existentialist builds a bridge over it, not because it's easy, but because it's the only honest way to live.
You claim choice gives meaning. But choice itself is meaningless if the ends it serves are arbitrary. Free will doesn't validate purpose, it only exposes that no choice is inherently better than another. What made Frankl's suffering meaningful? A story he told himself to survive. That doesn't prove meaning exists. It proves humans are master storytellers. Evolution favors belief in order, even where none exists. As Robert Trivers noted, self-deception is evolutionarily adaptive. Believing in meaning may help us function, but it doesn't make it true. You build bridges over abysses, but you build them with sand. There's no cosmic foundation, no moral gravity. Our values are as contingent as our DNA. We laugh, we cry, we die, and the stars neither notice nor care. The honest path isn't invention. It's surrender to what is, nothing.
Even your nihilism rests on assumptions. Chiefly, that truth is more valuable than survival or happiness. That's a value judgment. The minute you say we should accept meaninglessness, you invoke meaning. You can't escape it. Even Camus, the apostle of absurdism, concluded, we must imagine Sisyphus happy, not because the rock matters, but because the act of pushing it does. Meaning isn't found, it's made through engagement. Neuroscience shows that those who pursue self-authored purpose have better mental health, resilience, and empathy. This isn't placebo, it's reality shaped by human freedom. To love, create, or rebel isn't dishonest, it's heroic. You say we're stories? Good. Stories inspire, connect, and endure. A story isn't a lie, it's a lifeline. Meaning isn't out there, it's in us. and that's more than enough.
Mental health is not metaphysics. That meaning correlates with well-being doesn't make it real. Cocaine also stimulates dopamine. Should we call it truth? You invoke neuroscience but ignore its darker implications. The self is an illusion. Neuroscientists like Thomas Metzinger argue that what we call the self is a user interface, a trick. We are pattern-recognizing machines, fooled by our own internal models. Morality, love, even consciousness, illusions layered on a meaningless substrate. You romanticize rebellion, but even rebellion is futile when it changes nothing beyond our nervous systems. Your existential freedom is biochemical theater. It feels grand, but it's just neurons firing. Why pretend otherwise? The nihilist does, not despair. They simply stop pretending. We are stardust with anxiety, briefly animated noise in a dead universe.
You equate illusion with irrelevance. But illusion, if shared and chosen, becomes culture, law, language, art. These are human inventions, not divine truths, yet they shape reality. Even if the self is constructed, that doesn't negate its power. Judith Butler's work on identity shows how performance itself becomes real through repetition. Similarly, meaning doesn't need metaphysical anchoring, it needs commitment. If all is biochemical theater, why does that discredit meaning? A symphony is just vibrating air, yet it moves us. A kiss is just molecules, but it can break a heart. The existentialist doesn't claim eternal truths. We claim situated responsibility. In a cold cosmos, warmth is our task. You withdraw from illusion. We step into it, consciously, courageously. That's not delusion. That's creation.
If meaning is whatever we commit to, then genocide, too, has meaning. Chosen, enacted, believed. That's the danger of invented values. Without objective truth, there's no moral grounding. Anything becomes justifiable. History proves this, from fascism to cults. Your Butlerian performance theory works until the actor turns tyrant. And how do you resist? On what basis? Existentialism lacks the spine to condemn absolutely. Nihilism doesn't glorify evil, but it understands that moral categories are invented after the fact. We do what we're wired to do, then justify it with stories. The void is honest. The task of warmth is nice branding, but irrelevant to physics. Yes, the symphony moves us, but the stars are deaf. You call that a reason to sing. I call it noise that will never echo.
Yes, meaning can justify horror, but nihilism justifies nothing, including resistance. Existentialism is not moral relativism, it's moral responsibility. When we create meaning, we're answerable for it. Simone de Beauvoir warned that bad faith arises when we deny this responsibility. You fear invention, we fear apathy. When Sartre resisted Nazi occupation, he didn't need metaphysical laws. He needed only the conviction that some acts diminish our shared humanity. That's not invented morality, it's chosen decency. And yes, the stars are deaf, but we are not. Our music isn't for the cosmos, it's for each other. The void doesn't scare us. Meaning is a wager, not a guarantee, but it's one we place every time we say, "This matters," even when it might not.
You speak of shared humanity, as if it's more than a biological accident. Our empathy evolved to protect kin, not truth. As Yuval Harari argues, Homo sapiens dominate not because of meaning, but myth. The capacity to believe fiction gave. Use power. Existentialism is just the latest myth, dignified by philosophy, but myth nonetheless. You wager that things matter. Nihilism simply doesn't bet. It observes. Life is brute fact. To pretend otherwise is to cling to comforting lies. You say we create meaning for each other. but each of us dies alone. Our stories die with us. Civilization itself will end, our libraries burned, our languages forgotten. Nihilism doesn't mourn this. It accepts it, and that, paradoxically, is peace.
Acceptance isn't the same as surrender. You say civilization ends, so does every song, every life. But does that make them worthless? Impermanence doesn't negate significance, it creates it. A moment matters because it ends. Buddhist philosophy embraces this. Impermanence gives life its poignancy. If all vanishes, then every act is sacred because it's unrepeatable. You equate honesty with silence. We say speak precisely because the void is mute. Art, love, justice. They are not eternal, but they are ours. You want peace in meaninglessness. We want meaning in the midst of it. That's not fantasy. That's bravery. Not to accept oblivion as destiny, but to make something luminous before it arrives.
And yet, every luminous act fades. The candle flares, then dies. We must not mistake the heat for eternal fire. Your sacred acts are moments, valuable to you perhaps, but meaningless to time. The universe does not applaud. And when your memory fades, what then? No ledger keeps score, no truth remembers. You propose beauty as defiance. I call it biochemical ritual. Comfort, yes, but not truth. The ultimate freedom is freedom from the need to matter. When we release that burden, we stop performing. We simply exist. That, in the end, is more authentic than any myth of purpose. Not meaning, not rebellion, just being. That is enough.
But even just being is a stance, a choice to see existence as enough, and that too is meaning. You cannot escape it. Every claim contains it. To observe without meaning is to interpret, to stand somewhere. You say nothing matters, but saying so matters to you. That paradox reveals the flaw. Meaning isn't optional, it's unavoidable. We live in a world of wounds and wonders, and whether or not the stars notice, we do. That noticing, that caring, that choosing, it's what defines us. We are not asking for eternal applause. We're asking what we will make before the silence returns. You say the candle dies. We say yes, so let it burn brightly.
In this intense and illuminating exchange, we witnessed two minds clash over one of life's oldest riddles. Here we count full marks of two debaters. The debate leaves us with a haunting question. Is it more honest to accept the void, or more courageous to challenge it? Here we count full marks of two debaters. AI gave these marks to its debaters. But come on, what's your score? Which perspective made the stronger case? Tell us in the comments.